Hello. So it's a quick recording about a campaign I just finished, which I found quite interesting. So it's a campaign for a field sales approach. So the starting point actually here is a list of buildings in Australia, 150 buildings in Australia, and the idea is to find all the companies in those buildings, and then basically from there find the people in charge. And the people in charge, in this case, we are interested in like the COO, CFO, head of procurement, head of customer service and customer success, and the managing directors. And how did we actually implement it? So we use here two of our in-house scrapers I developed. So one is basically taking in the address of a specific building, runs the search on Google Maps, and then picks up all the listings of all the companies, all the places here basically, and also then goes to all those individual listings and picks up the data from it. And then we have a second scraper going over all those different websites, and on those websites it's also looking for some other data points, including also their LinkedIn page URL if they have that listed. And so the outcome in this case for the 150 buildings we have here was like 8,835 rows of data. 6,000 had like the website on it, and 2,600 we actually found the LinkedIn page URL on those websites. From there we basically load the data from our Postgres database into Clay, which we are using for like the whole like data enrichment and segmentation, and then also finding automatically like the relevant personas. So we can look into that table, this one here. So we load the data from our database in here. Some already have the LinkedIn URL. A lot of them don't have the LinkedIn URL attached to it. So from here, we segment the data. So in this case, I just ran the next steps for like two specific buildings, just to showcase how the campaign would actually work if you would want to run it for the whole list. So that's the segmentation bit. In a normal setup, in this case, I haven't done it. I would also use some integrations to the CRM to figure out which are companies are actually duplicates, or maybe the sales team has already spoken to them. They already told us that they're not interested, or we are already in negotiations, or they're already customers, so we shouldn't reach out again. We're stepping it in this case. Then also there were a lot of companies where they had a website on their Google Maps listing, but on their website we couldn't find the LinkedIn URL. So we also ran a search here with their URL to figure out if we can find the LinkedIn pages, and there were also quite a few where this was successful. So that helped us then to also get the pages and enrich from their LinkedIn profile. The cool thing here in Clay is that you really get like all the different data points they have put in their LinkedIn profile, and also additionally like stuff like their employee count on LinkedIn and so on, which might be interesting for you to further qualify which companies to actually reach out to. Maybe you want to focus on the bigger ones. And from here, we then actually went into this feature of Clay to find people. So just to showcase this, how this works, you can basically go in here, check which view to start from and which LinkedIn URL to use here. And you drop in your job titles and so on you're looking for. In this case, I also narrowed it down to Australia, because there might be some bigger companies that have maybe also managing directors in other places, but we're only interested in the ones actually in Australia. And I also limit the number of people per company I want to have as a result. And that gives me actually this list here. And with this list, I actually went then one step further to also use this waterfall process here, which then taps into different data providers and to find their professional email addresses and also validates that. So we can minimize our risk of having bounced emails in our outreach campaign. So like for this list, like I said, I only did it for 2 buildings out of the 150 buildings, but the results here so far are like we spoke about that, but I had like 54 people, I think, for those 2 buildings I looked at, which are not necessarily the biggest ones. And 38 of those 54 people we actually found and validated their work emails. And from here, basically the next step would be we could further enrich this with like other data points maybe you want to use to personalize the outreach or to further qualify if they really are the right people to reach out to. And then you can also integrate Clay with your sequencer to directly push those leads into your tool. So no more downloading of CSVs and so on, and automatically it's in there. And then you would run your sequencer like instantly, Smart Lead, LGM, etc. to run your campaigns and hopefully book a lot of meetings. So that's pretty much how we went from just a list of addresses really to 8,000, nearly 9,000 different companies we could reach out to. And if we wanted to also find for a bunch of those companies the decision makers, including their email addresses, and potentially way more data points depending on what kind of campaign you want to run. Very cool approach. I really like building this, and it's also very different to a lot of campaigns I have seen, because it has like this field sales approach that you can really send them a message like, hey, I know your office is here, I'll be there next week, like, do you want to grab a coffee outside? And then a bunch of those buildings had a lot of places in them, so like 500 plus those are big towers of places registered. So like you can really actually run a big campaign and say like, hey, I want to meet you downstairs for a coffee next week. So I'm very interested and excited also to see what comes out of this campaign once it's being set live.